Hello, hello, hello. It is Therapy Thursday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is time for Transforming Trauma with Dr. Triffy. I am so excited tonight. I've got a fantastic guest to share a healing conversation with me and you. And I hope you're showing up with questions. I know some of you are curious and inquisitive and you want to know more. You deserve to know more. You deserve to know more. So I want you to share the live when you come in. Share the live when you come in. I like to tell people that as a psychologist and a healer, I teach people how to think better, feel better, and hopefully do better, because the intention is that we create the life we want, not what other people want for us, but what we want. I'm a licensed psychologist. I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm also a Reiki master. I'm a sound healing practitioner. And I have a lovely lady here who completely gets why, in addition to standardized healing practices, healers incorporate other methods of healing. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce her just a little bit, but by the time we finish talking, you're going to know her very well. So this is the lovely Dr. Janet Taylor. And so, Doc, I would love it if you would introduce yourself to the rest of the world as they come upon our video. And I'm hoping it is so informative and inspirational for all of you who listen. So, Doc, you got the floor.
I am so honored and excited to be here. I feel like you are my soul sister. Yes. Oh, my goodness. Well, to introduce myself, what I would probably say is the greatest way is that just like everyone else, I am on the hero's journey. We all are heroes within our own right. We start out at one place thinking everything's fine. Then we go through an enormous transformation or upheaval, and the entire world changes. And we have to learn new things and adapt and compensate and meet new people. And it can be a little scary, but when we get through that and we see the other side, and when we look back at who we are, we realize how amazingly verdant we have grown. And then we want to take that message back to the individuals that we began with and share it with them, because everybody has a hero's journey. And that's pretty much where I'm at right now.
Oh, that's beautifully said. That is beautifully said. So each of us, not just me, not just you, Doc, each individual, we have a journey that we're plodding along, trying to find our way, make our way. And we do come upon those what feel like challenges and obstacles and crises that when we're looking at some of them in the beginning, it seems like I cannot survive this. I won't be able to make my way through this. But somehow, often with interventions and tools and supports, a lot of faith and lots of other skills, we make our way through. We learn the lessons, and hopefully we come back and we go back to our tribe and we say, hey, this is what I learned. Might it be able to help you? And this is my intention tonight. I'm from a tiny island. Many people confuse us with Dominican Republic. I'm from Dominica, and I make a point to say that because we hear it so often. We love the Dominican Republic, but we are further south, between Guadeloupe and Martinique. We speak English and a French Creole, and you can hear a little bit of my Dominican accent still. But so Dr. Taylor, you are a motivational speaker. You are a doctor of chiropractic. You're an author, an educator, and a Caribbean naturalist. 45 years of professional experience. You have used your skills, your personal growth experiences, and your own spiritual journey to bring women in particular, and you were just telling me men too, empowerment and healing. You've actually also created a program and a process that you call the Divine Feminine Quantum Leap. I can't wait to hear more about that. But first, I want to ask you, what does a doctor of chiropractic do? What's a chiropractor really do?
I'm so glad you asked because I love telling the story.
Yes.
So, first off, doctors of chiropractic spend 8 years in college, just like a medical doctor. We study pretty much everything that a medical doctor studies, except we don't study pharmacology, drugs, and we don't study surgery. But otherwise, we do use the exact same books for anatomy and physiology and so on as a medical doctor does.
Mm-hmm.
There is a difference between our philosophies, though. There is a mechanistic model, which most of the medical model fits in. What can we put into your body or take out of your body to get you better? And then there's the vitalistic model, and that's where chiropractic comes in. Because our premise in chiropractic is this, and I think everyone listening would agree with us. Would you say that the nervous system is the master control system of the body?
Mm.
Of course. We have our CPU up here in the form of the brain. We have the tail of the brain coming down our entire back, which is the spinal cord. I call that the power strip. And plugged into that power strip are all the nerves that go everywhere to run everything.
Yeah.
I couldn't be speaking. I couldn't be pointing like this. I couldn't be moving my head. My thoughts wouldn't be coming as fast as they are for this conversation if it wasn't for the nervous system. The brain and the spinal cord are protected by bony structures because they're very delicate and filled with an enormous amount of electric and magnetic information. So it stands to reason that if a bone moves out of alignment in our spine, or a hip area gets a little bit off, maybe when we birth our child, or if we walk on a shoe that the heel is worn over on one side than the other, where our hip area is, our foundation isn't right, then it stands to reason that if a bone moves out of alignment, a nerve somewhere is going to be irritated, pinched, disturbed, stretched, chafed, trapped, whatever word you want to call it. The moment that happens, the message coming down that nerve is not going to be 100%. It's like static on a radio station. If the nerve goes to the kidney, you may be getting the little message in your mind, it's time to use the restroom. Or the message might say, it's time, rest. Because the nerve is not carrying all the information necessary for your mind and your body to make the appropriate movement and the appropriate action.
I see. So does that explain then why after I birthed my babies, I did an X-ray and my skeletal frame looked like this?
Yes, that is called a scoliosis. It does happen. A lot of women's hip area don't go back quite right. And then it's my theory, I haven't tested it, that 20, 30, 40 years later, suddenly they're having problems with the reproductive area and they have a hysterectomy. And that is because the nerve supply, in my thinking, has been blocked all that time after birthing. Wow. So I had both of my children at home, and immediately after my child was born, they were adjusted and I was adjusted. We call moving bones back into alignment adjustments. And there are many different techniques that we can do to move those bones back in place. There are 3 different stressors that can affect the nerves. Physical stress, like birthing a baby, emotional stress, like the traumas that we have from not only natural disasters, pandemics, and also any type of abuse, or confusion that we've suffered, all that is stored in our nervous system. That can set up a chemistry in the body as well as nerves being irritated or disturbed that again causes a misalignment, not only in the body, but in the mind.
Wow. So can you imagine how many of us walk around in our day to day completely unaware of this? Just completely
Oh,
unaware.
many,
Yes,
many.
yes, yes.
The third stressor is chemical imbalance. So
Mm.
there's physical imbalance, emotional balance, and chemical imbalance. And the interesting thing is that they have found that there's a big chemical imbalance when a person manifests cancer in their body.
Oh,
There's a
wow.
big chemical imbalance. So
Mm.
what I realized in my third year of chiropractic is that a lot of patients were coming to me and saying, is this the right pillow that I bought at the store? Is that going to keep my neck straight? Or somebody would say, look at my shoe. It's all worn over on this side. Does that mean I'm out of balance? And I started realizing that people wanted answers about lifestyle things. And
Mhm.
they wanted to feel more in charge of their life. So I started looking into diet, nutrition, exercise, fitness, stress management, herbology, reflexology, you name it. And I've probably either looked at it or I'm certified in it because I've been in practice 45 years.
Wow.
So in doing that, I realized I wanted to be a holistic doctor of chiropractic. You must be in alignment first. Alignment is the key, not only physically, but emotionally, and our connection with the higher power must be
Body,
in
mind,
alignment as
spirit.
well.
Body, mind, spirit. I love this. I love this. I love this. Because you just explained to me why, in addition to your standardized training, you reached outside to what some people call alternative methods of healing. I don't like that word, alternative. I say natural. I say natural, integrative ways of healing the body to support what we already have access to medically. Mm?
That is
Okay.
correct. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you're also an author. You're also an author. I want you to tell me about your written work.
Well, 3 years after I was here on Dominica, I just felt this urge to start writing. And I've always written things, poetry and so on, all of my life. And when it comes, I've got to do it because I feel like I'm going to explode. So for 5 months, I wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote, and I came up with this book, Dog with the Crooked Ear. And if you
Wow.
notice here, the crooked ear, whoops, go this way. There we go. The crooked ear is actually an ear that's hanging down, whereas the other one is up. And that crooked ear is in the shape of the island of Dominica.
I see
You
it. I
see
see
that?
it.
Okay.
I see it.
The subtitle is A Spiritual Journey of Darkness into Light.
Wow. Okay, I'd love to hear a little more. Can you give us a little more, like a little synopsis, and then
Okay.
tell where
Yeah.
they can get the book? Yeah.
Probably the best thing for me to do is to just read the little paragraph on the back that explains the book,
Yes.
if you
Yes.
don't mind. Okay.
That one.
Expire or inspire. Life is about choices.
Mm.
This is the story of an ordinary woman who chooses to live an extraordinary life. From thinking about suicide, expire, to positively touching the lives of thousands of people in 3 countries, inspire. At an early age, the author asked questions about life that many adults couldn't answer. Who are we? Why are we here? How do we stay healthy and strong? How do we find happiness? The last sentence says it all. This inspiring adventure story takes us on a journey to follow the heart of a dream, shares
Mm.
how an outsider becomes an insider, and looks at a woman learning to love herself. Finally, it portrays a spiritual journey of darkness into light. That's it. It's on
Okay.
Amazon.
It is on Amazon, y'all. I am ready to get a copy of that book. Listen, I heard a few key words, right? And phrases jump out at me. I heard Dominica.
Yes.
Everybody and their mother knows how I love Dominica, right? Everybody and their mother, their grandmother. I heard Dominica. I also heard suicide. I also
Mhm.
heard big questions about life.
Yeah.
I want you to when we come back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to my folks there for a little bit, but I want you to share your Dominica story. Earlier, you said to me you're from Wisconsin. I want to
Mhm.
know how a girl from Wisconsin ends up in Dominica. Okay? But before Dr. Taylor shares this with us, I want to talk to you all about a law, a universal law of reciprocity. Okay, reciprocity is I give you something and you give me something. So I'm going to ask you to do something for me because Dr. Taylor and I are giving you a lot of good and free information. Shh, don't tell people, but we charge a lot of money for that in our private practices. Shh. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to comment, like, follow, share, subscribe. Share the information because if it's going to be helpful to you, I have a feeling it'll be helpful to somebody else. Okay. And that's our intention here to show up. And for me, this is part of my service to humanity because, I'm fine in my work. I have a feeling Dr. Taylor is also fine in her work. Yeah. But she's going to be sharing information about a workshop that she's curated just for women. And when you hear the price at which she's offering this workshop, you will understand why it's service. It's service. Okay. I want to say welcome to Courtney. Hi, Courtney. Courtney says, hello, Dr. Taylor and Dr. Triffy. Moki says, let's go. And I have a feeling this is Glow who says, hello, ladies, two of my favorites. I am late, just in time to catch a bit of you live. Welcome, Ma. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, Doc, how did you end up in Dominica? What's your
I came
Dominica?
on a cruise ship. And when I stepped foot on the land, this beautiful feeling of joy rose up inside of me. This is absolutely what happened. And I thought, what an amazing place to come and open an office. Then for months, nothing happened until I met a man at a health fair who had bought property on Dominica. I said, you got to be kidding me. I was there on a cruise. And we started talking, and he said, well, I'm going to build a holistic healing retreat there. And I said, what? So I showed him my file cabinet drawer full of information. And I said, well, I want to do a holistic healing retreat too. Long story short, we came to Dominica together. We fell in love. And he and I I helped him, but he was mostly responsible for building Rainforest Shangri-La Resort. I was busy building my practice at the time.
Wow.
So it was a organic, sustainable living and
Yeah.
holistic healing resort. Yeah.
So, like I said, I think some people think I'm just boasting about Dominica, like I'm just saying stuff. But in my view, and I've felt this since I was a little girl, because I used to watch how relatives and friends and neighbors who had kids from overseas, right? The kids were born, say, in the UK, Canada, the US. When the kids were emotionally dysregulated, they would send them home to Dominica. And within months, I kid you not, within months, kids who were having behavior problems, emotional problems, you would see them attune, you would see them align. And I think Dominica has a sort of healing vibration that's similar to Sedona, Arizona, that's similar to Costa Rica. Lots of people spend the money and they fly down to Costa Rica. There's tons of
Mhm.
healing spots. There are places on the planet where you have that kind of vibration. And I think I think Dominica is one of those. And in addition to that, let me say that Dominica has 365 rivers. The second largest boiling lake in the world. And we boast the second highest number of centenarians per capita in the Western world. Yes, Carla, that's right, that's right. Carla Arma is agreeing with me. I feel it. I felt it since I was a little girl. And I'm more convinced of it each and every day. There's something about the land and the way the elements come together, the water, the air, that I think also contributes to longevity in the people. So any thoughts as I say that? I mean, you already just said it. You came and
Oh,
came on a cruise, y'all, and she stayed.
yes, I did. It is a natural living spa. Every breath you take is a healing breath.
Mhm.
Every bit of sunshine that warms you is so pure and beautiful and part of who you are. I mean, it takes my breath away every day. We live in nature's pharmacy here. It is a spiritual experience to just walk outside my door or to open my eyes in the morning because the beautiful wooden shutters on my home have been open all night and I've heard all the insects and I hear the ting ting bird, which is one of my favorites at night. So I just can't say enough. And I'm a great advocate when I leave. I'm always talking about Dominica to people.
And
It's what I was looking for all my life.
oh, oh my goodness. And you
Yeah.
started talking about the ting ting bird and the sound of Dominica. Look, I'm gonna, y'all, watch. This is part of what we're talking about today, isn't it? Sound, healing
Yes.
power of sound. The healing power of sound. Doc, why did you choose to learn methods like sound healing?
As I went through putting my hands on patients year after year after year, I felt so much more than just a physical energy. I felt sound and I felt light. And I said, whoa, there's got to be something more here that I need to look at. And actually, chiropractic has been a springboard for me because as I got holistic, I got really holistic.
Absolutely.
I feel at this point in time that these physical structures that we live in, our piece of the planet that is such a holy journey to take, are sound and light. That is what we really are made up of. And your vibration is a certain way, and mine is a certain way, and my light is a certain way for both the sound and the purity of that glow that comes off of us. So that's where I wanted to go. And I must say, I'm very, very humbled and extremely passionate about getting there and
Mm.
living it on a daily basis.
And you know what? I'm really inspired by what grew out of you. What kind of it just overflowed out of you, and you've created now this beautiful training, this workshop, this experience for women, and you called it the Divine Feminine Quantum Leap. And it's a unique indoor outdoor adventure of experiences. Listen to this, y'all. Experiences with earth, air, fire, water, sound, light, and thought that raise your vibration. Lunatic, when you come upon this, Lunatic asked me, what does raise your vibration mean? How do you raise your vibration? It changes your current reality and empowers your personal radiance through interaction, guidance, practical information, processes, and playfulness. Please tell us more as soon as I come back from my door. as life is happening and I have someone I know who I won't let leave. You'll wait. Doc, think of your response. I love the flexibility of life. That's one thing I have learned as a therapist, maybe, because I think when I was a younger person, I felt so, oh my God, things have got to be a certain way. And I'd be completely terrified if something went not according to plan. I don't give a rip much about this right now as an adult and maybe as a wiser woman. You got to go with the flow of life. So, yes, Doc, I'm ready for your answer. What's
Yes. So the divine feminine quantum leap actually grew out of two strong thoughts and feelings that I had. After Maria devastated 95% of Dominica, I knew I would not be opening my office again, that I would be closing permanently. My area on Dominica did not receive electric for a year and did not get water for 6 months. That was city water. We have water all
mm,
over Dominica, but this was the city water. And so I was fortunate
right?
enough for 10 years, after I was here for about 4 years, for the next 10, 11 years, I traveled to Antigua once a month for a week, and I saw patients
Mm,
there as well. So I evacuated myself from Dominica after the hurricane and went to Guadeloupe and stayed with friends for 3 days where I cried a lot and I ate and I slept. And then I went on to Antigua. And it was while I was in Antigua, working with my own post traumatic stress disorder and doing a lot of healing on myself, that my friends said to me, you know, you maybe want to offer something a little different when you get back to Dominica. And I said, I would like to have something that deals with community, and I would like to have something that obviously helps me to earn some income as well. So they suggested that we do something together, but then that kind of shifted, and I started putting a lot of things into a little file folder. And pretty soon, I started getting, this vision and this idea that in order to have common unity,
that's right.
it has to start first within here. And I had my office closed, which was called Quantum Leap. I had to make a quantum leap to get to Dominica. And when people came to get care at my office, one of the things that was required of them, although they didn't really know it, was to make a quantum leap in their thinking and do a paradigm shift about the mechanistic and the vitalistic and choose vitalistic for themselves. So to call this the divine feminine, which I know best because I'm in the feminine body, quantum leap just was perfection to me. I
Mm,
also realized that the patriarchal society has been in charge for a long time. And right now, it doesn't look like it's working very well. So I started looking back then and doing research on some of the ancient ruins and what we found there. And it all pointed to the goddess. And I said, whoa, whoa, now I know what I'm going to do. And thus, the divine feminine quantum leap is the 7 elements, but it's also about the divine goddess rising because she is in the spotlight now more than ever. And her role in unity has been proven through the matriarchal societies to be a real winner. Yeah,
this is powerful stuff. And
it
I'm going
is.
to ask you to explain a little more about human beings, us, and or divine, masculine, and feminine. What is the
Sure.
difference? What is that about? This word is being like thrown around a lot these days.
Yeah. we're a combination of both. It makes sense when you go back and look at some of the ancient civilizations. There was always a yin and a yang. There was always a dark and a light. There was the goddess and the god. Uh, it's all. Look at nature. There's a male and a female, except for the ones that are hermaphrodites. But there's always going to be those deviations because life is continuously being created and unfolding. It is not totally static, is it? It keeps just going and going. And that's why I think it's so fascinating that we have both a feminine and a masculine part of ourselves. Feminine cannot really be described by masculine because masculine uses verbal words and feminine isn't about verbal words at all. It is more of that's feminine.
Okay. Um, the brothers who listen, I think, I'm not going to say just the brothers. I think men and women, we confuse gender, like we confuse the biology with that
Yes.
energy and that essence. And I wonder if, yes, we are in primarily a patriarchal sort of society right now. We've been bludgeoned over the head with masculine, hard, do, go, fight, win,
Mm-hmm.
succeed at all costs. Have masculine hurt us? Have the men hurt themselves and hurt us in not nurturing the feminine part of their souls?
Well, the time is ripe. In fact, it's happening whether we like it or not, because there's a much, much greater power involved right now. One
Yeah.
of the things I learned in chiropractic college is that there's this microcosm. You can go way, 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 way into that tiny, tiny world, into quantum physics.
That's right.
And then if you blow it up and you come out and you go to the macrocosm, you find that looks just like the microcosm, just
Absolutely.
in a bigger array, of course. And it always made sense to me, as above, so below, as below,
Okay.
so above.
That's right.
So there is a lot more going on here right now at this pivotal point, in our whole creative movement as co-creators with source,
Yes.
that a lot of people aren't aware of. They feel these stirrings and sometimes it's frightening to them, so they shut down. The divine feminine quantum leap is all about opening up and allowing.
Yes.
And when you understand how powerful you are, that is not frightening at all. That is delicious.
So, who are you asking or inviting to come to the workshop? Who are you inviting?
I'm inviting women from the age of 20 up to 120. I only take 12 women at a time. It
Yes.
is a very organic, morphing adventure that
Yes.
lasts 8 hours. And I'm kind of the orchestral leader to a certain sense, but actually every person that comes is a leader in their own right.
Yes.
So it's up to me to be able to feel those ins and outs and the rhythm. And that takes a lot of paying attention and being conscious.
Yes.
So it's just as much of a wonderful experience for me. I've based it on my professional experiences, my personal growth, and definitely my spiritual journey, because we all have those aspects to ourselves, whether we're aware of it or not. No matter how small our journey is or how humongous our journey is, it is still our journey. And
Why
so
is this important though? Why is this important? Why is this important for a Dominican woman? who's like, I don't know. I don't know. I feel it. I feel it's, I'm curious about it. I feel the stirring in me to do it. But why should she? Why should a woman say yes?
Well, first off, we're living in this amazing paradise here that we just talked about. And we are looking at all the elements that are here. We're looking at the earth. We're looking at fire. We're a volcanic island. We're looking at water. We have ocean. We have rivers. We have waterfalls. We have hot springs. And we're looking at the air. The air is so clean here. Plus, we can smell sulfur as well because I live right close to the sulfur springs.
You live
The,
where? Where is the workshop being held?
it's being held right here on my property. And the really exciting thing is that when I first rented this property, the
Yeah,
ruins of the Watton-Waven, that's my village,
yeah,
sulfur springs, is on my property. When I decided to buy it, I bought the ruins of the Watton-Waven sulfur springs right along with my house. And
right.
then I said, what am I going to do with this? It had no roof. It was just very big stones and things here and there and trees growing in it and weeds all over it. And then all of a sudden one day I went, I'm going to do a tea room greenhouse with a historical walking tour.
Look at that. Look at that. So did you at that time, were you thinking about, you must have already been thinking about creating that sort of experience for like a healing space? Or were you?
When we finally opened the Rainforest Shangri-La Resort, I put together a month experience where people outside of Dominica and as well as inside of Dominica
Mhm.
would spend a month at the resort. And the first week we would work on physical balance. The second week we would work on emotional balance. The third week we would work on spiritual balance. And the last week we would bring that all together and give them tools to leave the island and take into their regular lives.
Wow.
But I was in a full-time practice as well. I was
Yeah.
seeing 55 people a day, which was a lot of folks. And so I had to move slowly with that. And my husband at the time was still doing a lot of building and so on. So that moved slowly. But I had retreats in mind because people talked about tourist packages. I,
Right.
I, I just didn't fit in a pack. I've never fit in a package. So that was a bit of a conundrum to me, but I understand better now. So that to me was already, nuances of the divine feminine coming together. But I
Mhm.
wanted to focus just on 12 women so that
Yeah,
the orchestrating and the rhythm and so on isn't too big for me to be aware of. And I didn't want it too small either, because
absolutely.
the ridiculous price for this is, by the way, the second one that I'm doing on Dominica. I did one in 2019 on Dominica.
Mhm. Right before the
So
pandemic hit,
this
2020.
is this is the second one, but I'm
Mhm.
going to do a pilot group this time because my place was not far enough along in repairs to do the first one on Dominica, and I chose a beautiful villa close
Mhm.
by to to access. But
And now,
now my tea room is all being done up, so we'll be moving in and out and up and down and roundabout. And this is the first time I'm doing it here, so I'm only charging 100 EC dollars for 8 hours. And
why?
I have
Why?
all,
I want to hear why. What? Why is this so affordable? Why is this so affordable?
well, first off, we still are in the pandemic, and a lot
Mm,
of people on Dominica are struggling.
yeah,
And I wanted to make it affordable for that reason,
yeah,
because there is so many things you can do instead of struggle.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
if no one has said anything about that, or if you've got programming in between your ears that says, this is my way,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
you're going to be stuck. You
yes,
know,
yes,
and it's sad. It's very sad. It
yeah.
concerns me. But
One
I
of the,
also know
go
one more
ahead,
thing.
go
One more
ahead.
thing. I also
Yeah,
know you cannot be poor enough to help the poor, and you can't be sick enough to help the sick. It doesn't work that way. You have to keep your vibration very high if you want to help individuals who don't have the big idea or haven't had the
yeah,
guidance to think differently. That's all I
yeah,
want to say about
yeah, yeah. You know, you're saying something very powerful, and I keep trying to say it, not trying to, I keep saying it, and I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it. Everything is mind. Yeah, the universe is mental. And you have
that.
to understand that and know that, so that regardless of what's in front of you in physical form, you want to learn how to use the power of your mind to shift your physical environment. And that's a lot, that's a whole session. Yes, I get it. But this workshop in 8 hours can help you figure out how to do that. And I
Yes.
think it's a remembering process. It's not as if we don't know, because if you chose to come on this planet, you have that programming already. I think it's a remembering process.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
So, this is why a workshop like this is transformational. In one day, look, in one day, you have been practicing for 45 years as a healer. And as you said, as a human being, you're bringing in all of your personal experiences, those challenges you've hit and overcome, transcended, the traumas you've experienced. Talking about trauma, please, can you tell me a little bit about your Hurricane Maria experience? Because you mentioned it a little earlier. And I think I want to put in perspective how unnecessary it is, but almost unavoidable. Trauma in life is it's just unavoidable. If you live long enough, you're going to experience some things that are just going to hurt so bad.
Yeah.
But do we have to walk around with it unresolved? So I want to hear your Maria story and how you, as a healer, how did you move through that emotionally, spiritually, psychologically? So,
I'll give you the Reader's Digest version.
yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
I was alone here at the house with my dog. I had experienced Hurricane Dean in 2009. It was my first hurricane, and I learned a great deal. So when I heard that a Category 3 was coming to Dominica, I immediately knew what I had to do. See, preparation is one
Mm,
of the key factors in being
yeah.
capable.
Yes,
Okay?
yes,
So I prepared my house, I prepared my food supplies, but above all, I prepared my body and my emotional and mind because I was going to do this alone.
wow.
And I would have to handle anything that occurred. And if it got too big, I would have to still be able to handle it.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I thought it was a Category 3, just like everybody else. And I was like, no problem. I'm
Yeah,
buttoned up. I've got my boots on, my long pants. I
yeah,
got my fanny pack that's got my identification. It's got money, a Swiss Army knife. It's got a rope. It's got everything that I need. I put on a silk blouse, which is very, very strong. If I needed to tie myself to anything with one of the sleeves and tie, I had thought of everything.
yeah.
I was fine. However, I thought it would only last about 6 hours based on Hurricane Dean. And
Hmm.
when we went to 7 and 8 and 9 hours, and then, of course, all of your senses are hyper tuned
Yeah,
to every sound, to
yeah,
every smell, to every sensation that's going through your body. And I realized I don't think this is a category 3.
Yeah.
And then I did hear that freight train sound that they talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And I just talking about it right now, there's this fear thing that runs over you. You can feel it. It's like little prickles that come over you. And I said, oh, there's a river just a little ways down from my house. If that thing overflows too much or eats the cliff away, I'm
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
So, in thinking about that and listening to, what was happening outside for about 15 minutes, I started feeling fearful. And the one thing I told myself is stay in a high vibration. I had a book that I was reading out loud to myself that was a very spiritual book. But then, of course, my mind started thinking about what am I going to do if that river comes? And I went out of the present moment when I did that, you see. And for 15 minutes, I started feeling very fearful.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes you so quick and in your body and then all of the adrenaline starts and you can feel this whole shift in your body, the fight and flight, and you want to escape.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized if I got too far into that, I would make myself completely helpless,
Mm-hmm.
especially when I heard one of my shutters blow wide open and I knew I was compromised.
Wow.
And then I started hearing rain coming into my house, and I knew I had lost galvanized. And
Yeah.
when I went upstairs, it was a mess. So I did what I could. I ran back downstairs, and what I had been doing every hour is I had been sitting in deep meditation for 15 minutes. And
Mm-hmm.
then I would get up and run upstairs and check everything and come back down, sit in deep meditation because I knew I'd be up all night.
Right.
But when I became fearful, I knew I had to change my vibration, and I knew how to do that, thank
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I started stamping and shouting at the top of my lungs, I am safe.
Yeah.
I am loved.
Yeah.
I am protected. And I
Yeah.
said it so loud, I got hoarse. I was screaming it so loud.
Yeah.
And my dog was freaking out. But
Mm.
then the calm came, the eye of the storm, right? And I
Yeah.
wasn't tricked. I knew it was going to come back.
Right.
But I opened up the downstairs doors to let my dog out to go to the bathroom. Oh my God. What a surreal sight. I did not even recognize my yard.
Mm.
But I did not become afraid because at that point I had done my work. And
Yeah.
I said, there's only one more part of it, and then it will be done.
Yeah.
There is a beginning, there is a middle, and there is an end.
Mm. Yes.
So you go back in there and you meditate and you connect with source. And
Yes.
then don't think of the future, don't think of the past, stay right in the now.
Yes.
And that's what got me through.
Wow. I I when the hurricane was coming towards Dominica, I was here, and all we people like us could see was just the nasty eye of that storm, and we knew what was coming. We just couldn't call. By then, lines were down. We couldn't call our families to say what was coming at them because we'd heard the news too. It was going to be a 3. But now I went down to Dominica about a month after the hurricane, as soon as we could get to come do some trauma recovery work with whomever I could, wherever I could. And I am convinced that there's still many people walking around with the trauma of Hurricane Maria in their bodies,
I agree.
unexpressed. What a beautiful opportunity to come to a workshop like you're offering, to squeeze that stuff out, to purge that stuff out, and to transcend, to go higher with it, to learn how to raise your vibration on purpose, to learn not that you have to, all of us understand that we have to, but to learn how to. The hurricane season is upon us in a minute. June too soon, yeah. And yeah, next month the hurricane season starts. I know many people are going to be triggered because they haven't healed from that experience yet.
Right.
I am so encouraging all the women hearing this in Dominica. If I'm talking to you, you need to reach out to Dr. Taylor. You need to reach out to Dr. Taylor, not just if you're holding trauma in your body from Maria. I'm talking about from childhood, from that person that touched you in a way you didn't want them to touch you. I'm talking about relationship trauma from that person who left you and just walked off and went off to be with somebody else, and your heart is still wide open, wide open. Hmm? This is what you do these processes for. A process like this that you're offering, Dr. Taylor, is so much more impactful. And I can say this as a psychologist who's used cognitive behavior therapy for many, many years, which is talk therapy. It's talk therapy. To resolve trauma, your body must feel the difference. Your body, you talked about the fear coming into your body, right? You could feel it. It's a physical thing. It's a physical thing. And so a lot of those sensations are very likely still frozen in little pockets in people's bodies. And you need
Yes.
processes like this that you would pay a lot of US dollars for. I promise you. Okay, if you had to do it here, you would pay a lot of money for this. $100, you see, is a gift. It's really a gift.
Yes.
And I want to say thank you for offering that opportunity to the women of Dominica. I understand how powerful that is.
Thank you for seeing what it
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
who I am, and
yes,
how it can affect community. I
yes, yes,
appreciate that. You have that connection with, well, we talked about this before, the connection that we have, and you
yeah.
do see it. And you know, even if you know some of these things, it's always good to be reminded and to add a little notch to what you know you can do.
Yeah.
I had some ladies say to me, "So in the divine feminine, are you going to give us your secrets about staying young?" And I said, "Could be."
And they'll
So
remember their secrets too. They'll remember their own secrets too.
yes,
Oh man.
yes, exactly.
I think about the past 2 years, you know, Dominica went through such a thing with Maria. And then just as we were opening our mouths and breathing in, COVID came and put us
Oh,
back on our beds. I went home in March to Dominica, and the vibration felt a little different, like I don't know, if sadness, heaviness. It
yeah.
might have been my sadness and my heaviness, one of my friends was telling me, which is possible because last year was a mother trucker for me. But 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 there's collective trauma in the bodies of the human beings on the island who barely had time to recover from Maria and had to sit through and feel COVID. So I'm really encouraging you to care for yourselves first, ladies, for yourselves first, so that you can be better moms, better sisters, better daughters, better wives, better girlfriends, better you, better
Yes.
you.
You see, Dominica is such a paradise when I hear people talk about, and I've said it myself, you can't be poor enough to help the poor. There is no reason whatsoever for anyone on this island to be labeled poor
No,
because we have everything here and more. We're learning about it all the time.
absolutely. Doc, what would you say you know now about healing the body and the emotions and the mind that perhaps you didn't know when you started off? Like as a young chiropractor, what do you know now about healing the body and the mind and the spirit?
Oh boy. That's a pretty loaded question for 45 years looking over it. I guess what I can say is that I arrived at this moment, and I
Mm,
arrived at this moment healthy.
yes,
And if I may say so, awake. And if I
yes.
may say so, of service.
Connected. Oh, connected. I love this. Carla says, Amen. This is exactly what I do, what I explain to my clients. The movement methods are key to trauma release. So, Carla is a Pilates instructor,
Yes.
a fabulous group on Facebook called the Core Collective. Carla, please type it in the chat. That's fabulous. Because, trauma researchers, I like to think of Peter Levine, who talks
Mm,
about somatic experiencing. His premise is that you've got to essentially teach the body again how to feel okay. But you have to
yes.
do that through processes. And the
Sure.
body, another trauma expert, Bessel van der Kolk, the body keeps the score. It keeps a record of your pain, of your mental pain, of your physical pain, of your emotional pain. That
Yeah.
broken relationship, it keeps a record of that pain. You as a baby and not even having the words to explain what you were feeling, it keeps a record of that too. And so you need these body, mind, spirit, a holistic approach to get alignment again.
Yes.
You need a complete
Because it's
approach.
the nervous system that has all of that in there. It's your CPU up here. And every cell of your body is like a hologram. So it holds all of that. So I
Absolutely.
always say to people, if you want the best massage, if you want the best workout, if you want the best meditation, if you want the best digestion, get yourself in alignment so that your nerves are working at 100%. And
Yes.
all of that will be so amazing. A couple patients have said to me in the past, wow, I never knew I could feel this good. They said, this is wonderful. And I said, guess what? There's no ceiling on feeling good. It just gets better and better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you get to create that experience on purpose.
Yes, on purpose.
On purpose.
And when you're on purpose, you're not alone. You're
No, you
connected to the entire universe.
absolutely. 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 Marvel says self-care. It's very important. We've part of what I think is distorted feminine is the false belief. It's a distorted belief that we have to take care of everybody else first
Oh,
before we take care of
yes.
ourselves.
Yeah.
And we suffer for it. We suffer for it. Women, it is not a healthy thing. You go on an airplane, what does the air hostess or the flight attendant say to you? Put that mask over your nose first before your newborn, before your 2 week old baby. Can you believe it?
Yeah. That's
So
right.
we have to really feel that in our bodies because that's the truth. That
Mhm.
is a truth. And I don't care how much you give out, thinking people are going to love you more. How is that working out for you? I have a feeling it doesn't work. It just does not work. So Carla's group is called Living at Your Core Collective. Okay, Living at Your Core Collective. Doc, can you share, if you can access one, a healing story with us? Like either yours individually or somebody you worked with and you saw
Sure.
that transformation, that transcending of the
Yeah.
trauma. Hmm.
In a small section of my book, because it's not all about chiropractic, I
Yeah.
do have some testimonials, and the people who had written them gave me permission to put them in the book. And
Hmm.
one of them that actually went worldwide through an organization called On Purpose that I was a member of. I sent this particular case history and journey with this mother and her child. Her child was diagnosed as borderline autistic.
Mm.
And at 2, the child was even not walking on her own.
Mm-hmm.
It turned out that the mother was a front desk assistant with me. I'm sorry, the grandmother was a front desk assistant. And she
Mm-hmm.
told me about her daughter and the child and said, I think you can help them. And I said, well, thank you for your vote of confidence. Yes, let's get them in here. So at that time, I had a special instrument that I could place on the neck, and it would tell us where all of the misalignments were.
Mm-hmm.
But for me to even put that on the neck of a 2-year-old borderline autistic child was next near to impossible.
Right.
So the mother told me that the child loved to watch a certain little child's movie, and she would bring that and we would put it in my TV. This was when VHS was
Right.
still around. And the child would get involved and watch. And she said, then you can probably pick up your instrument and put it on her neck and take a reading. But I knew that she would scream when I did that because I was not an energy that the child was used to. So I
Yeah.
slowly sidled up to her. And at a certain time, I took the reading. Well, the reading was off the charts. Part of the child's head looked like someone had just dented it right in. So she
Wow.
did not even have alignment with her skull. I had to do cranial work on her as well. But that's all I did the first day. And the
Mm-hmm.
mother left. We did not have anybody else in the office at that point in time because I didn't want to put any pressure on anybody involved. Just my front desk assistant, myself, the mother, and the daughter were there. The next time that she brought the daughter in, we did the same procedure, but this time I made an adjustment to her neck because I use a handheld instrument in the beginning to work with people, and then I do my hands secondly. And that worked perfect because I could put that instrument on her neck and just quickly make the adjustment. So I did that, and the mother left. The third time she came in, she was holding the child in her arms. And I walked in and said, well, hello, how are you today? She turned and looked at me straight in my eyes and reached out and touched my face. And I started to cry. It was a miracle.
Wow.
4 times later, the
Wow.
child walked into my office without holding her mother's hands.
Wow.
Fast forward to about a year later, when the mother brought her back, they went through a lot of other things and, had consults with other individuals. The child walked in and I heard her voice go, Dr. Taylor. And I came running out and she goes,
Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh wow.
so when her mother wrote the testimonial, the last thing she said is, what I am grateful to learn is that my daughter does not need to be labeled. She just
Mm.
needs to be adjusted.
Oh wow.
That
Wow.
was that was a big one. That was a life changer.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So
Oh,
I
what
get emotional talking about it, as you could see.
absolutely, absolutely. To watch this from beginning to end, to watch
Yes,
a mother frustrated, tried everything, at a loss. But to have faith, it takes a little faith, doesn't it?
quite a bit.
Yeah, a little patience, a little faith, and the willingness to try the new thing, a willingness to try the new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for asking. I really appreciate it.
You are welcome. You're welcome. Carla wants to know, are you having your events monthly or is this a one-off? The workshop.
No, I don't do the monthly. And I really don't call it a workshop. I call it an adventure.
Mm,
Workshop sounds so professional and just kind of in a box to me.
yes, yes.
Adventure sounds, like, let's do it, folks. So I call it an adventure.
Yeah.
I usually do one per quarter. But remember, this is a pilot group that it will be here for the first time. Normally, I charge 300 EC for this 8-hour experience because it does include a
Yeah,
$50 EC booklet as well.
yeah,
So we're going to see how this goes, how the ebb and the flow and so on with the individuals taking it.
yeah.
And then I'll decide if I'm going to do another one. But once per quarter is about all that I can do because it
Okay.
changes dramatically. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So how can women sign up? Where do they
You can
reach?
you can call me because I'm asking that all people who want a space, I only have 4 spaces left, by the way. I'm asking them to pay the $50 um, fee
Yeah,
as a position holder for you, but that actually pays for the booklet,
yeah,
so that you have pre-registered.
yes.
Because I don't want someone, at the last minute when I had a space say, "Oh, I'm not going to be coming," because someone would have jumped into that space
Uh,
immediately. So
Absolutely.
I'll give you my phone number.
Yes.
If they will call me, I will meet up with them to get their $50 deposit for their place. But like I said, I only have 4 spaces left.
Okay.
All right. So my number on Dominica is 616 0173.
Okay. And because you're in Dominica, you already know 767, right? You don't need to put your 767 if you're in Dominica, but that's or what you call it, or area code. So 616-0173.
Correct.
616-0173 for Dr. Taylor. Okay, Doc, you've been a beautiful, beautiful companion for the past hour. I'm just gonna throw a few just random questions at you, right?
Okay.
Maybe you didn't think about. What's been your maybe like your favorite experience in Dominica of all time? Like your peak experience in Dominica.
Boy. I'll have to say, and does not come from a selfish space at all. It
Mhm.
comes more from a universal awakening. I am
Mm,
so in love with myself right now. I
yeah,
want to give that to everybody so that they can feel what that is like.
yeah.
It is very, very expanding.
Ladies, ladies, ladies. Look, I am so excited about this because again, I know this in somewhere inside of me. I know that Dominica itself aids in your healing. I know that. And to have processes by healers who have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 years of experience. And they're offering this thing to you for $100 EC? $100 EC is what? US. Like one US
For
is
42, something like that, 42, $43
oh my for
US.
8 hours of work. For 8 hours. I don't think this can be beat. And I think self love, I'm a self love advocate because I do understand that you cannot give. You can't give to somebody else what you haven't given to yourself. What you don't know what it if I don't know what it feels like to love myself, how can I tell you I love you? And we do that a lot. A lot of us are struggling still to really embrace ourselves and accept ourselves and love ourselves as we are, but we're telling people we love them. What exactly is that? Charity begins at home. Charity begins at home. It's not selfish, it's caring for yourself. Okay? It's got to start there. It's got to start there. And I watch my mom, who's the mother of 10. I'd watch her every day. Yeah, I'm number 9 out of 10. And I'd come home from primary school and she'd be every day, almost religiously, doing some sort of chore, washing the clothes, doing the dishes, cooking this, cooking that. And I'd say, Ma, I love you so much, but I don't want this life.
Mm.
where everybody comes before me.
Yeah.
And so if you're a woman in Dominica, I understand who we are. So I understand culturally we have certain values about what it looks like to be a mom, what it looks like to be a wife. If it's painful for you, you've got to do something about it. If you feel pain anywhere in your heart about it, in your emotions about it, in your mind about it, this is a signal to you to say yes to a workshop like this.
Mhm.
Because you offer your family, your spouse, your kids a gift when you are aligned. When you are aligned. Mm, mm,
Yes.
mm, mm. Simone says, awesome lecture tonight. Simone, thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Taylor. Cannot beat that price. It's a gift. It is a gift. And seriously, I expect that by the end of the evening, you, if you've listened to the live and you know a woman in Dominica who will benefit from this, even if you're in North Carolina and you know your sister, your auntie, your girlfriend would benefit, shoot your sister a text or WhatsApp. Okay? All
We're
right,
going to
Doc.
fly you over here. You know that. We're going to fly you over here for this, right?
All right, Doc. So I am going to invite you to just share a few final thoughts, feelings, words with the people who are listening tonight and the people who will come upon this video.
Yes. Well, what I'd like to share, by the way, Carla Armour has read my book. We
There.
talked about it on a plane flight once, and she was kind enough to purchase it.
Oh,
So I'm going to read one sentence out of my book, and
yes.
this is what it says. You see, the impossible dream isn't.
Ah, the impossible dream isn't. I hope you get it. I hope you get it. The impossible fake stories, fake news.
We create
Yes,
every inch of our
yes,
life,
yes,
whether it is consciously done or unconsciously done. Many
absolutely.
people are in default. So
Yes,
they say, I wouldn't do that to myself because they're in default. And of
yes,
course, it's difficult for some people to swallow that because they're having a difficult time. And if you read my book, you will see that I've been through some pretty tough stuff.
yes,
However, we are extensions of pure source energy. And
yes,
whatever word you want to put with source is your personal choice.
absolutely.
We are here to create. Do we want to create our life with countries warring? Do we want to create our life with people so greedy that they have so much money, but they want more? Do we want to create our life of people dying in front of our eyes because they haven't been told all the information necessary to help themselves? Do we want to create that anymore? I don't want to. I want to see come unity where people are respected for just being here.
Absolutely.
That's part of the gift. We're not here to work ourselves and to be hectic and, oh, I have this terrible pain and, oh, I've been diagnosed with this. That's not what we came here for. However, the hero's journey is what we all do. I'm not saying that it's bad or wrong. I've chosen some things that I was like, oh, no, I really don't want to do this again. I need to get this straight real quick.
Yeah.
So I've been there, but our purpose here, and this is so beautiful, is to be joyful, to be happy, to create beauty and joy and happiness. We are co creators with pure source energy. I don't know how I can say it any better than that. Come, dance the dance. If you can't do it with me, then dance the dance at your house.
Yeah.
Look look up some things about what we've talked about tonight. I have a reference sheet. I have many books that I suggest people to read. If you already know everything that we've talked about tonight, my gosh, good. You're part of a huge movement, both physically and spiritually, invisibly and materially.
Yeah,
And welcome aboard, because we're all in it together.
absolutely. I believe, like you, that now is the time for the divine feminine to rise, to rise, to rise. We have really, in a way, shirked our duties. We have said yes to systems that did not work for us. We've allowed other people to speak for us, other people to tell us what to do, how to do it, when to do it. Huh? And we've gone along with the program. We've gone along with the plan. It's not working for them, even, much less for us. It's not working for the world. And so we have to say yes to ourselves first. Understand this is not selfishness. This is it's really self-centeredness, a self-focus, understanding who you really are, and why you said yes to come here.
Yes.
Ladies, Dr. Taylor, I'm going to use my sound bowl and I pray, I wish, I hope that we all choose well. I hope we choose well for ourselves, because that choosing well for yourself, man, that thing reverberates to everybody around you, to everybody around you. So, Dr. Taylor, thank you so much for sharing your heart and yourself and your life with us tonight.
You are a remarkable lady. I fell in love with you the moment that I saw you. We will be in each other's presence soon. I know that. And I think that what you're doing on these Thursday nights is just remarkable. So I know a lot has been focused on me, but it wouldn't have happened if a mutual friend of ours didn't connect us, because we're here to connect. We're
Absolutely.
communicating more than ever before, but we're not connecting, and we need to connect. That's what
I'm
we're
going
here.
to say her name. Glow, thank you for
Yeah.
introducing me to Dr. Taylor. I mean, I came on and I posted right after our first conversation. Talk about a conversation where both of us lived. You talk about vibrating higher, because I think we saw each other and felt each other. And I feel you and I see you guys. And when I show up here on a Thursday, sometimes I plan, sometimes I don't plan, but my hope, my intention is to offer something that you can use to essentially really create the life you want. There's so many ways, so many processes. And this workshop, this Divine Feminine Quantum Leap workshop is one of those ways. So I'll see you all for Transforming Trauma podcast next Thursday. Namaste.
Namaste.